My name is Elliot. I wrote the book and created the course called Life-Led Business. I'm going to pull a quote out of this box today and explain what it means in less than 3 minutes. And today's quote is, "You cannot have two good tools to work with, and there is no tool you should be as particular about as living tools." And I explain what that means. This is not my quote. This is a quote from P.T. Barnum from the 19th century, who I quote quite a lot in my book. That's his quote. Even 150 years ago, he's like, people are the most important thing you need to help you and to do the work and to support you and all those kind of things. Even then, people, living tools, he called them, which is very human resource type wording, but we'll go with it, right? And so what I've explained it as is many entrepreneurs are reluctant to train their staff in case they leave. I run into that all the time. I don't want to train my staff because they might leave, and they might. If they do leave unexpectedly, it's not because of your training or lack of training. More likely it's because you either overtrained the person without thought about how they use their skills, or you undertrained the person so they felt unfulfilled. Without thought of how you can enhance their capability to accelerate your future state where you're trying to get, you neglect everything, their professional development, everything. So this is what this means, is I should train people. And they might not be my employees. They might be partners or subcontractors or people who I affiliate with. Whatever it is, there are humans involved in the act of business, and I need to make sure they are as capable as possible to deliver the value for the customer that I need to achieve to get to my place, my happy place, the future state. That bit about I don't want to train people their leave, I have seen that in real life. So I worked with a business once. I would train their person up in digital marketing. I did that 3 or 4 times, and every time they would get to the point where they had some good skills, and they would leave because they had transferable skills. My view on that is, it wasn't that they became better at what they did, it's because that business didn't reward them sufficiently or give them fulfilling enough tasks to use those new skills. That's what I believe. Because if they had, they wouldn't have left. Well, there might have been another emotional reason. You don't know. So that bit about people leave. The other scenario where people can take training and become a threat almost is when they leave and start up against you. I've seen that. I worked with somebody locally who was in IT industry, went to see him and said, "You should be employing people and using people." He said, "I don't want to do that because," and when you dug down into it, he had done that to his employer. His employer had let him do all the work, trained him up, and he left and took all the contacts and all the business from them and started up by himself, which is an interesting moral dilemma, isn't it? But that's the truth of it. So I am not pretending there aren't risks with living tools, people, and how much you increase their capability. But the truth is, unless you do that, you will not get to your future state, your happy place in business, fast enough. So don't look at them. Look at yourself and say, when I give these people these skills, am I rewarding them correctly and sufficiently? Am I giving them rewarding tasks to use those skills and to test themselves? If you do those two things, they won't leave. Not really. So that's my view. You cannot have two good tools to work with. And there is no tool you should be as particular about as living tools.